So till now we talked about factors and multiples, and we understood how to find the factors and multiples of the numbers, right? So let's try to find out factors of some of these numbers from 1 to 12, let's say. Okay. So let's try to find the factors of 1. It will be 1 only. Okay. Now for 2 it will be 1 and the number 2. For 3, if you find the factors, you will find the factors of 3 are 1 and 3. Okay. Similarly, let's move for 4. The factors of 4 will be 1, 2 and 4. Okay. Factors of 5, it will be 1 and 5. Factors of 6, 1, 2, 3 and 6. Okay. Now factors of 7, 1 and 7. Now if you try to find the factors of 8, you will find the factors of 8 are 1, 2, 4 and 8. Similarly for 9, 1, 3, 9. Okay. Now let's move for 10, 1, 2, 5 and 10. Okay. 11. Factors of 11 will be 1 and the number 11 itself. Okay. Now factors of 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12. Okay. So now we have found the factors of these numbers 1 to 12. Right? We have written down all the factors. Okay. Now let's find the number of factors. Number of factors of 1 are only one factor. So number of factors is 1. Okay. Number of factors of 2. Factors are 1 and 2. So it will be 1 plus 1, 2. So there are 2 factors of the number 2. Now what are the number of factors of 3? 3 is also having 2 factors. Okay. Factors of 4 are 1, 2, 3. We have 3 factors of the number 4. For 5 we have 2 factors. For 6 we have 4 factors. Okay. For 7 we have 2 factors. For number 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 factors. For 9, 1, 2, 3. Similarly for 10, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. For 11, 1 and 11. That means 2 factors. For the number 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Right. So in this table, if we see the number of factors, we will find 3 types of factors, 3 types of numbers. First is the number 1, which has only one factor. Okay. And the second is the numbers which only have 2 factors, right? For example, 2 is having 2 factors, the number 1 and the number itself. Okay. 3 is having only 2 factors. Now 5 is having only 2 factors. Okay. What next? 7 is also having only 2 factors. After that, the number 11. 11 is also having only 2 factors, right? Now we have talked about the numbers who are having only one factor or the numbers who have 2 factors, right? And third category is the numbers who have more than 2 factors. For example, the number 4, it has 3 factors, right? Which is more than 2, right? Similarly 6, we have more than 2 factors. For 8, we have more than 2 factors. For 9 we have more than 2 factors. For 10 we have more than 2 factors. For 12 also we have only more than 2 factors. Now after preparing this table, let's try to understand our main objective, which is to understand what are prime numbers and composite numbers, right? Let's first understand what are prime numbers. Prime numbers are the numbers which have only 2 factors. One of them is the number 1 itself, and the second is the that number itself. Okay. From our table we found which are the numbers that have only 2 factors. These are 2, right? 3, 3 is having 2 is having only two factors, right? One of them is 1 and the other one is the number itself, right? Similarly 3 is only having two factors. One of them is 1 and the other is the number itself. Okay, let's try another one, which is 5. Okay, so 5 is also a prime number because it is having only two factors. Then what? Then we have 7, right? 7 is having two factors. Then 11, right? And so on. We can have any number of prime numbers, right? So this is how we understand the numbers that have only two factors, right? Those are what? Those are called prime numbers. Okay. Now let's try to understand what are composite numbers. Okay. The numbers having more than two factors, right? So we have here numbers which have more than two factors, right? Let's find out. 1, no, this is not more than 2. Okay, so 3, yeah, this is more than 2, right? So the numbers for whom the number of factors are more than 2, those are what? Those are composite numbers, right? So in this case 4 is what? Is a prime number? No, the number of factors we have 1, 2, 3, more than 2, so it will be composite number, right? Again 6, for 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 4 factors, right, which is more than 2, so it will be composite number. Then 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 is also having more than 2 factors, so it will also be composite number. Then 9 is having 3 factors, it is also composite. Then 10 is having 4 factors, which is more than 2, right? So 10 is also composite number. Similarly 12 is also a composite number, right? So far we have covered the numbers which are having only two factors or more than two factors, right? The numbers which have only two factors, those are called prime numbers, right? The numbers which have more than two factors, those are called what? Those are composite numbers, right? But what about this number? This is number 1. The factors of 1 are only 1, so which means it has only one factor, right? So it doesn't have two factors, which means it is not a prime number, right? 1 is not a prime number because we don't have two factors. Okay, so 1 is not having more than two factors, so it means it is not composite as well, right? So from here we can understand the number 1 is not adhering to the definitions of prime number as well as composite number. So what we can say, prime numbers are the number 1 is the number which is neither prime and nor composite. 1 is not a prime number and not a composite number as well.